All right, greetings, and definitely welcome to all. Thank you guys for the past watches. I just want to greet everybody, and then we have some new subscribers. Thank you for joining. Please share it to everybody who you would know would be open to this or coming into it or established in it, something that would benefit them, somebody they'd want to see, and definitely come into the more because we're here on censoring stuff. That's why I really named it West Coast Uncensored, and it was kind of a name I just kind of grabbed for you newbie because I live in the West Coast, but it was kind of connected to another thing that I was doing, and I just kind of seen it first. I thought it wouldn't fly because I figured it was some probably copyrighted by rap hip hop artist, and it wasn't. So I took it with my name and I just combined West Coast D Boy, West Coast Uncensored, and that's what I come in. And we really want to uncensor the censored and put on display the truth that has been concealed from us, usually from those in power. Not usually, always is. And if it's concealed from us, it's hidden. That's why we have a plethora of secret societies in different cultures, historically, as you go to different cultures and different ages, you can see them all the way back. Sumerian, right? We talked about in the past video how the Sumerian moon god was named Sin, and that's one of my most watched videos. And the first one that was the most watched is a demiurge. And I told you I'd get back to the secret book of John, which this is going to be. So we're going to continue on that with the demiurge and also the meaning of it. So what I'm going to do is share the screen and we'll get started because we know we aren't going to be just in and out. I'll try to do it as quick as I can, but I'm not going to rush it, if that makes sense. I live in America, and so I'm on West Coast time. So you on the East Coast are a little bit different, but this is not live. We'll be looking to that, but we're going to share some stuff here today. All right. Glad you guys are here. Keep a positive mindset. Keep an open mindset. Don't let your mind become a mind that doesn't have a parachute that's not open. Your growth is never going to be in the comfort zone. Your death is going. Your challenges will be your fuel to go to the next level. Anything that becomes easy ends up being your opponent because the easiness makes you settle and stay in certain places. And that's kind of what's wrong is we see that really humanity has functioned, and this will kind of help what we're going to talk about, has functioned in staying complacent, staying in the same place, not wanting growth. Afraid, they say we want more truth, but when truth's presented, because your light can be so immense radiating from you that it will make them reflect their shadows. And there was a song a long time ago called Golden Years by David Bowie, and it talks about running from the shadows, glorifying it. But I'm saying don't run from your shadows. Go into your shadows and take that darkness that's within you on your dark side, doing the shadow work, and take it on. Because the reflection of light will show the darkness in the corners. Because darkness, if you ever looked at darkness, go into a room and put the light on, flip it off, you'll notice that the dark parts run to each corner of the sides of the building like a cube, like a square. Just think about that. So, anyways, we're going to share and get in it. But growth is important, but growth is not in the comfort zone. Growth always seems to be in the agitation, pressing, trials, tribulations, pain is when people start having growth. And if you notice that people who are not curious, and if you're one that always asks yourself, why, how come, why, you're one that's curious, almost like, and you guys can go back because this can go back with me. You guys remember Scooby-Doo? Notice it was called the Mystery Machine, meaning they were on a travel course to unveil and unravel and uncensor the mystery. If you're not a mysterious, curious person, you'll stay in the same place, which is a comfort zone. No growth. You think life is just all your physical and then that's it. And you never ask yourself the whys, whens, wheres, hows, and then coming into any kind of theory, and then any kind to proving a theory, or any kind of knowledge of self, or any kind of that illuminated knowing, intuition. Uh, I've talked to some people that I know that are open to this, and then I was just noticing in the conversation there's fear factor still in it that doesn't really open up. And then I really start looking at, have you been activated within? Does your intuition and your revelation, when you know that you know that you know, and you're not bothered by anybody or anything, that you're not confused by it, or you don't double think it out? The problem was the duality thinking before. When you start seeing, when someone says turn left, and turning right is really what they're trying to deceive you from, you start knowing the codes, and you're not really deceived by it. You know that you know that you know that you know that you know, without any necessarily outside knowledge of proof. So we're going to get into it. Thank you guys for your watches. Please keep coming back. We're going to share some screen. We're going to read a little bit. Help me read a little bit. I have to go 2 glasses because small things don't work for me reading. So but we're going to get into the secret book, right? The secret book of John. All right, all right. I hope you guys are there. You can see. I'm gonna move this out. I don't think you guys are tripping on this, but seeing. So I'm not going to read the whole book. We're going to start right here, but I would suggest go online. I have one. I actually have all the all these texts. I think it's the Nag Hammadi. That's how you say it. And it was discovered. It's called the Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in the late 40s, 45, I believe, maybe a little later, 1945. And it was definitely had some religious organizations shaking because they didn't know what was going to come up on it. And that goes into some of the history, right, of what happened during the first, second century and all that. So we're going to start at the crisis, but there's a little bit more, but it's not a huge book anyways. So it's only a few pages. So we're going to start here, and we're going to start at the crisis became the world. There's some pre-stuff to this in organization. You can read it about this, but let's start on it because we want to get to certain places. I want to share some other things with you too. I got some share screens ready. So let's definitely get this. So it says, it happened in the realm of Eon, wisdom Sophia, of conceptual thought, Epinoa, and I might not be saying that, began to think for herself. She used the thinking and the foreknowledge of the invisible spirit, and she intended to reveal an image from herself, to do so without the consent of the spirit, who did not approve, without the thoughtful assistance of her masculine counterpart, who did not approve. So if you already see here, Sophia is a type of spirit of feminine energy that when you get in the Gnostics writings and a lot of the writings that are hidden from us, right? Because let's face it, there's reasons there are all kinds of secret societies and there's all kinds of them that through the ages that you can dip into. Every major religion that's under everything has its own text, but then has the hidden meaning, or the Gnostic goes with the Greek. It just means knowing. You're knowers, not believers. And so when you see this, it talks about the feminine aspect, kind of going out, not with the male aspect, and kind of wanting to create something on her own, but not with the connection of her consort, it says, or consent of the spirit. And we'll read on. Without the invisible spirit's consent, without the knowledge of her partner, she brought it into being. Because she had the inconquerable power, her thought was not unproductive. Something imperfect came out of her, different in appearance from her. Because she had created it without her masculine counterpart, she gave rise to a mishappen, being unlike herself. So Sophia saw that her desire produced change into a form of a dragon with a lion's head and the eyes flashing lightning bolts. She cast far from her, outside of the realm of immortal things, outside of the realm. So she didn't go to the great council or highest self. She knew she had power, but leaned into her own understanding. Remember, she went, if you read up higher, she kind of went into this place of her knowing her power. Feminine power is major part of this, right? Energy is feminine and masculine. Everywhere, 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 everywhere. That's what creates everything. The negative and positive. The feminine and masculine. It's just nature, 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 right? And it's the spiritual nature. She saw her desire produced, and we read that already. Sophia surrounded him, and she had created a son. And notice that outside of the realm of the moral scene, so they could not see him. She had created ignorance. Sophia surrounded him with a brilliant cloud, put a throne in the center of a part of the cloud so that no one could see it. Hope you guys can see and read along, except for the Holy Spirit, called the Mother of Living. She named him Yadabaoth. Yadabaoth is a chief ruler. He took great power, dynamics from his mother. So he stole his mother's energy. Remember, this character, it says ignorant and in darkness. And if anybody knows, darkness actually is meaning you don't know. It means you're ignorant. It's okay if you're ignorant. We're all ignorant to something that we don't know, right? But this is somebody that's been given power, real power, but is ignorant. Given real power, but is ignorant. Kind of reminds you what's going on in the world now. For those who know that this is how it's always kind of starts operating. It says nothing new under the sun. We just keep repeating. If you don't know it, you're going to keep repeating history, right? So just think about those thoughts. He's a chief ruler. He created realms within himself with a brilliant frame and continues to exist even now. The fashioning of the world, Yadabaoth united with the thoughtlessness of Apoinia within him. Thoughtlessness. There's his ignorance. He begot ruling authorities, modeling them on the incorruptible realms above. The first, and it goes into this, and it's kind of talking about the fourth, and I'm kind of going to go over those. You can look at those. I hope you can look this up and read it yourself. I'm going to get to, we'll be all day if I'm going to read, so I'm going to skip around, okay? He made the first rulers, so you see he made the seven almost like angels and some demons, and he empowered them, right? But they were one walkers, meaning you're going to see the jealousy will follow what he creates, which would be man. But anyways, let's go. He made seven rulers. He made five rulers to reign in the five depths of the abyss, lower realms. He shared a portion of the fire with him, a portion, but shared none of his power of the light had received from his mother. So he gave him some power, but the power was in the connection of the ignorance and not knowing, and really not power. He would not give them the power that he received from his mother, which he's using, but he doesn't realize that there's a missing part of the mother's power because she didn't get the full realm of her counseling above, or the feminine or the masculine energy, that she did this on her own without the masculine energy connecting to her. So he's ignorant, he's darkness, ignorant darkness. When the light mingled with darkness and the darkness alone, when the darkness mixed with the light diminished and no longer light nor darkness, but an in-between, which is dim, right? And notice that when we say somebody's dim, we're saying their light's not bright, right? They're not what is a beacon of light that maybe a lighthouse would have in the ocean where everybody could see that light. This light's very dim. And when you start looking at this, he was the dim ruler, had three names. Yadabaoth is first, and then he's going to go around with some of his other creations. He's blasphemous through his thoughtfulness. I like that. He's blasphemous through his thoughtfulness. He's blaspheming because he doesn't take his thoughts or of a lower realm. Thoughtlessness. He said, I'm God, and there's no God but me, since he didn't know where his power originated. That's heavy. I like that. Because he didn't know the part the mother was supposed to content. He stole from his mother what he got, but he didn't recognize what he really had got. He was not mature. He did not understand the orders that were above him. And um and notice that he said I'm God and there's no God but me, since he didn't know where his power originated. That's heavy because that's an Old Testament scripture, right? There's no God but by me. And it says, but he did not know his power originated. He don't know where he's from. He don't know who he is. Don't that sound like humanity? Because face it, until we get awakened, we're sleepy folks, and we don't know nothing about really what's nothing. We know a bunch of dogma if we come from religious backgrounds. That the more and more you wake up, you realize dogma is just. I even had this thought today. I went and did some stuff, and I thought about this: how we are so caught up in at times with dogma, and that there's secrets. But the dogma tells you everything about the dogma, which is not held secret from you. But the secrets are hidden from you. Hear what I said again. The dogma is not hidden from you. Easy to find, hand fed to you, scraping it on your plate. Here, have it all, have all the dogma you want. But the truth is concealed. Come on now. Think about that. Why? Because it's dogma. Masses have your service because you give the masses the dogma. The rulers created 7 authorities for themselves. Each of them authorities created 6 demons apiece. Then came to the 365 demons altogether. Now 365, 360 is a great circle. The 5, I mean, that's number of days in a year. So we're looking at, like I was talking to somebody else, how did we through this new thing get the full movement of circles 360? It's not 365, but we have a new calendar for the last 200 or 300 years. Wink, wink. It goes right with it. But anyways, there's God. He's ignorant. He created this. He created all this authorities, gave them physical names: hyena face, donkey. I'm going to skip that. We're going to go down. Yadabaoth has many faces. He conveys any face he wants to the Sephrim around him. Yadabaoth shared his fire with the seraphim, but gave none of his pure light. You hear that? He gave none of his pure light. He ruled them by virtue of power and glory of the light that he received from his mother. But he has no wisdom and has no thoughtless. He's thoughtless and has no wisdom and doesn't know his origins, but he's claiming to be the only one. Put it together. Think about that. He united his thought sevenfold with authorities who accompanied him. He named the sevenfold powers goodness paired with the first, and there we go with some of the names you can read again. Go ahead and read it. I'm not going to go through all this. He fashioned and modeled the higher realms, which now name refers to the glory of heaven, so that Yahweh's demons might be destroyed. The demons' own names given by him are names, but the powers' names reflecting the glory above will bring about the demons' destruction and remove their power. That's why he has 2 names. Duality, right? Not knowing. He modeled his creation going down. Let's skip down. He had his power deriving from his mother made him aware of the pattern of the cosmos. He gazed upon the creation surrounding him. He said to his host of demons, the ones who had came forth out of him, I'm a jealous God, and there's no God but me. By saying this, he admitted that there is actually another God. and if there's no other God, whom would possibility you be jealous of? And I've said this many times when I was seeing this with the last few years, when I was just looking more and more, because you're going to see that when you look at who Yadabaoth is, he's actually connected to, yes, Mr. Yahweh. And if you remember, these quotes by him are actually Old Testament quotes. I'm the only God besides me, and there's no other. I'm a jealous God, right? But the jealousy shows here that he has no knowledge that that there is another God he's jealous of. He doesn't understand his ignorance. He's showing this ignorance, which is immaturity, because he has his light is somewhat he's ignorant. He's dark and ignorant, right? His mother began to move back and forth because she had become aware that she now lacked the light of her brightness had dimmed. So the mother realized that her power that she created on her own, kind of went into her own thought, did this, and it created something that actually had dimmed her light. Since her consort had not approved of the action, she grew darker because and this is her. If you we're going to read on, you're going to find out that what we're talking about here is that she became guilty of her creation. And she moved back and forth, right? He laughed, saying, "If not as Moses upon the waters, not at all." When he saw that the evil had taken place, the theft of the light of her son had committed, she repented. In the ignorance, she began to forget the forgetfulness, right? She began to be ashamed. She would not return above to the higher realms. She began to move, and she moved back and forth, trying to right her wrong in her eyes, right? The arrogant one removed power from the mother, for he was ignorant. The thought that no one existed except his mother, and that's where he's caught at. He saw the host of demons he had created, and he elevated himself above them. But when the mother realized that the miscarriage was so imperfect, she came to realize her consort had not approved. She repented, wept she went through the repentive stages, right? And if you read on, you're going to see that she's going to go there, and she will get the okay, but she goes through her process of she's really feels dark, and she really feels bad that she created a son that was an ignorant power. That then a voice came from the highest realm saying, "The man exists, and the son of man, Yad-Obeath, the chief ruler, heard it and thought it came from his mother, but this is from above his mother. This is the other aspect of the consort or her counsel or the masculine force that she did not use when she created him, right? Yad-Obeath, chief ruler, heard it and thought it came from his mother. He did not know the source of the voice. That's key. He did not know the source of the voice. He interpreted that as his mother, but it was another realm high. That was a connection with the mother that the mother didn't do, and by that, his ignorance was a ruling. Yad-Obeath, the chief ruler, heard it and thought it came from the mother, right? Is the Holy Mother, Father, perfect province of the invisible, Father of everything, where everything has come to be. And if you think about that, that would be the feminine and masculine. And he didn't understand that feminine and masculine creation. He's got power from his mother, but everything he's creating in power is a misstep. So the realm of the chief ruler quaked, the foundations moved, he illuminated waters from the world. Yad-Obeath said to his subordinate demons, "Let's create a man according to the image of God and our own likeness, so that the image will illuminate us." That's heavy. So actually, there's an aspect of him thinking illuminated to a higher place, and this is being said, but there's a misstep, right? He's wanting to create something, and he's very ignorant. He's going around saying, "I'm jealous and I'm the only one," when the language is telling you that what he's really saying is he's the only one. He's really telling you he's not the only one, because he's saying that. And this is a thought I had before reading these texts a few years ago, was I used to think like this. I used to start looking at the Old Testament, and when I looked at it, I was like, me and a couple of really close people to me were talking about how it's almost like hypocritical, some of the things you see, especially with Yahweh. He repents that he made man. He's always jealous. Always, I'm the only one. It's like, where's is your self-esteem low? Because if you have all power, all knowledge, all understanding, that you're supposed to be this great highest realm God, why are you jealous when the people you create, if they're jealous, they're the lowest vibration, or what you would call sin, but yet you can. And I started looking at this. This is almost like when I started looking at the stories. Tell somebody, I'm going to give you a land that you would inherit, but you put a law on Moses when he went to Sinai, and we've talked about Sinai before in past videos. You put a law that Moses came down with that has a bunch of thou shalt nots. But then when you get in other areas, those thou shalt nots don't matter, because you're telling them to kill them all, kill their cattle, and kill their children. And I started looking at this and going, whoa, this is a character. Start looking at this, the character. So he wants to illuminate and be illuminated by his creation. Each for another power created aspects of man. He added the characteristics corresponding to psychic factors he had seen in the image above them, right? They made a creation of substance in the likeness of the perfect first man, and they said, let us call his name Adam. He will give us power of light. He will give. So he's being in the place he is, he's looking for something from this humans that he's created, almost like you're still showing lack within yourself because you're looking for to give us power. Notice he's ignorant. He doesn't believe in the oneness and unity that we, as we get higher, that we want the unity with everybody and we all bring that light together, right? He's wanting to I'm going to get their stuff. Well, I ain't going to make them and I'm going to take their light and power. This guy, Yada Bale. The seven powers, it goes on down. You could read them, the kingdom, the psychic, all the way down. And all the way down, you could read farther. And as you read farther, you're gonna see some stuff that's gonna show you, and then it kind of reminds you. Let me go down. Yaldabaoth's servants of demons worked to finish the psychic body. Every time it had a inanimate, it did not move. Yaldabaoth's mother wanted to take back the power she had turned over to him or the chief ruler. She earnestly asked the most merciful mother and father for everything for help. So she went above saying help. So she's got, if you read on before this, she got in a repentant state and she wasn't judged, but she went through her process of feeling bad, right? Knowing that she made a mistake and actually went out of it. So if you look, his sacred command, he set down as 5 lights, the forms of principal advisors to Yaldabaoth. He led the removal of Yaldabaoth's mother's power from him. Wow. Right? So the chief, or the real chief, the father-mother reunion, right, led the removal of even the mother's power. Blow some way of your spirit in his face, and this body will rise up. Yaldabaoth blew some of the spirit in the man. The spirit of the man was divine of his mother. He didn't understand what was happening, for he lived in ignorance. His mother's divine power left Yaldabaoth and entered the mind or the people. He actually didn't have power like he did. It was actually given to the humans he created, or Adam. Come on now. He didn't understand what was happening. He lived in ignorance. His mother's divine power had entered in the psychic human body modeled on the primordial image. The human body moved, it grew powerful, and it shone. The light shone, right? The Yahweh's demon forces envied man, right, through their efforts, because he made them one-sided, and they're looking at the luminous light of man that has 360, meaning he's got the yin and yang. They're one-sided. Yaldabaoth didn't empower them. They're ignorant. They only are one-sided folks. They don't have a fullness that they're seeing, and they're envious, right? Understanding that those who had created him had greater than that of himself. So even though he created this, he didn't realize the humanity had the mother and the father union in it. So even that which is above the mother, or a higher realm, was connected to the mother. It was not given to him, but when he gave the mother's way, it also had that father's way, or the masculine incense. And these new people had made that he created actually did something that he didn't want, or that the demons didn't want. Even the angels started realizing, man, they have more faculties than us and more abilities than us. This makes sense to me why we've been dumbed down. So his demonic forces, understanding they created him, right? Then they realized that he alone with light could think better than they could, and was naked of evil. And they took him and cast him down into the lower depths of the material world. Blessed one, the father and mother, the good, merciful one, looked compassionately upon the mother's power relinquished, since Yaldabaoth's demons might have gained power for the the perceptible physical body or psychic body, excuse me. He went down from the good spirit and helper to Adam, and out of his great compassion, life filled the epinoe and emerged, and he called her life Zoe. She adds the entire creation working with him, restoring the fullness. She taught Adam that the way his people had descended, she taught Adam to the way they could ascend. They had abilities to ascend and descend 360 all the way around, and not one-sided beings that Yada-Baoth had became with his ignorance and abilities because he didn't, because of where he came from and how he came, right? He could ascend and descend, she taught him. The light field was hidden in Adam. So the hiddenness in us that we always are looking for, going within, right? The more you stay outside of yourself, you don't see your light. And so the rulers might not know her who would repair the disaster from the mother caused. If you guys have never, I'm going to stop the share because I'm going to share something else. This is a very powerful book. And those who start seeing this for what it really, really, really is, I see the correlation what we see. I talked about the demiurge. This is the demiurge, Yada-Baoth, which is Yahweh, right? You see the quoting of him is the same as the quoting of Yahweh, the one that came out of a burning bush in the desert, right? And if you go do some real research and not be closed-minded into your ideology of your religion or that, and you look at that which before any of those three religions, the last two are very, very new, the newest of, almost of them all. You'll find that this thing about Yahweh had him as a desert god and as connected to weather, and he's a fire, right? And he's fire just seems is there. He's a burning bush. But when you only got fire, you're not complete. You need fire and water. That would be the father and mother that he's talking about in the secret book of John, the fire and mother reunion, which is the highest creation. The mother tend to do this all by herself in her own thoughtlessness. And she created a thoughtfulness son. She repented and he stole her power, but then it was taken back and it was given to the humans, which would be you. I'm going to share something else with you. Not that one. We're going to do this one. Go back to Zoom. Share. We're going to share this page. And the reason I wanted to share this page, this will make even more sense to you. So when you look at this, and this is about Yada-Baoth, right? The demiurge. I didn't share from the beginning, but if you go up, I'll go to the top, you're going to see Yada-Baoth, right? And the Gnostic teachings and Gnosticism. And as you go down a little farther, you're going to see right here that you're going to see Yada-Baoth, Texas, is connected to, where's that at? Hebrew, there it is, the Hebrew Texas, and Yada-Baoth and Yahweh are the same. There would be the demiurge. I'm going to take this a little bit closer with my reading glasses so I can see better. Yeah, because I was looking for something specifically that I had, and I back scrolled to show you what I was reading. Yada-Baoth, the king of chaos. Boy, we live in chaos. Baal would be connected in there, but also the origins of it is right here. The original facts, the tradition wasn't identified as Yahweh because you've seen diverging, and then that's where you would get the Hebrew Bible, and then you would get into the demiurge, right? The demiurge would be that this was talking about. So you see this, you see it's an order of chaos. You've seen in the story, he's lacking knowledge. He's very ignorant. He's just dark, right? Um, Following all this stuff, you just kind of see what really makes the most sense to me is that when we see the reality we live in. I know Demiurge is here, and that's why I'm looking for it. It's a lot here because I know that the word Demiurge is here. Da 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 da. Where's the that? Where's the etymology? Where's the Demiurge in this? But anyways, right here. However, all Gnostics movements regarded the creator of material universe as evil or malevolent, and the Valentinians believe the Demiurge is merely an ignorant, incompetent creator, which that's what the story was. And you go down Yada Baoth, Yahweh, as you read earlier, it's Yahweh. If you notice some of the stuff that you see that Yada Baoth quoted was Old Testament scriptures, or that we can find in the Old Testament that Jesus created. So the Demiurge, right, is ignorant, darkness, chaos. And when we see this reality, that's all we see. In prior videos, I mentioned the fact that everything seems to, we never get a balance in this reality. We never get a balance. Everything seems to pendulum swing. You know, I talked about it on the last video, on one of the videos about even how everything politically went so far left that it's on my so far left that it's communism. And then what if a change comes? We go so far right instead of going in the middle and balance it out, because it seems like this demiurge or this God of this world, because that's what this kind of goes with in the New Testament. He's always talking about Satan or the God of this world. That's Yada Baal, that's Yahweh. And I mean, you can really go in and see the story. It aligns to me. It makes sense of the reality. This reality seems in this certain plane doesn't change. It's always in balance. So instead of going here to balance, I've always said politically, if you were going to correct political, you would need a third party, because you need three parties. You need the not just one side of the left and the right. You need the balance of the center, because that's what's always going to balance you is the middle, the neutral ground, right? I've talked about many times. So when you look at the creation of this and the story, you start seeing Sophia caused this through him, right? The fall of man. But this man, these men, right? Like I'm back here, which identified Yahweh, the God of the Jews, the Egyptian god Seth, following that diverging previous multi-liptius deceptions. Yeah, Greek power, all that. And it goes down. The what we call Gnosticism was Christian Gnosticism. All of them had it. The Sufis or Islam that would teach you that the within Christianity it would be the Kabbalah. Here's the thing with secret societies, that the secret society hidden meanings are not evil as their nature. What's evil is when people misuse it to have power and don't use it for the best of a balance of humanity into oneness, love, wholesomeness, loving everybody, but use it for power to control. And that's what we keep seeing, and we always see the flashback into it never gets balanced. It's always left, right, pendulum swings. You have to balance yourself. You have to take back your power. And this is kind of what you see is Yada Baal stole the power from his mother, but then when he created something out of it he thought was great, he created the luminous ones that were even greater than him. So what did he, and think about some of the stories that we see, and you can read this book if you can get it. You can find it online. You can definitely find it online, or you can buy the book in itself. I actually have the book of all those out of those texts found the Dead Sea Scrolls, because that's where it's at. There's a bunch of small books in the one book. May go over some of them because there's a good creation one I wanted to talk about there. But even the etymology, when you go into here, it's darkness and chaos, right? Um, yeah. And then Yada Baoth, Aramaic, has a Vector, not a child, in actually descending from the Hebrew Saboth, this last part of his name, armies, Yada, Yald Baith, both as a begetter of the Sabbath. It's Yada Baoth. Black objects, this because Sabbath is the name of Yada Baoth's son. In some Gnostic texts, instead, he suggests the second noun to be Aramaic, Jewish Aramaic, which is cognate with Hebrew. A term used to replace the name Baal in the Hebrew Bible. Black's proposals Aramaic is Yada Baal or Baal, because I could see Baal in that name. So I'm saying, y'all, get into etymology. You're going to see that it will piece things together. And this is really good stuff. I'm going to stop the share. Yeah, told you to get back to it. So what I was seeing was a lot of the stuff that we start seeing in with that I was had been seeing, and I look at this reality, and I'm like, nothing's balanced, never is. Everything goes to balance where we all just kind of love on each other. Everything that you even hear on the news, when I go in the community, I don't always see that. When I intermix with the community, I don't always see what's being pushed in agendas. I think people have a light within them, but if you stay outside yourself, you get farther away from knowing. No, Gnostic means knowers. Um, the knowing goes with the change of what we're seeing now in an age, right? Um, and of knowing, not just believing something, because you can believe anything, don't make it true. I mean, less like people are pushing agendas that I can be whatever I want to be as long as I identify with it. And somebody said, I had this thought, let me go and make a TikTok or video saying I'm going to go to the bank and ask for $2 million because I can identify as a millionaire, a multimillionaire, or I can have a bowel movement in my hand. Which one fills up faster? Just because I believe something, it doesn't make it fact, but knowing does. And when I see something like a scripture, it says, "Let your words be yea and nay." I see it now as not spouting out a bunch of beliefs or spouting out a bunch of opinions. You either know or you don't know, and when you know, you take it to the bank. When you don't know, you're just confessing, "I don't know," which is also shows that your ego is deteriorating. It doesn't have as much power because you're not trying to know everything when you don't know it. And so many, we see it all the time, just in the world and how everything is gone or going, right? But anyways, I thank you guys for being here. I thank you guys for the past listens. I mean, really, thank you, man. My listens went up, and this one, it was connected to the demiurge, right? The secret. This will come out. This is the secret book of John, and we're talking about the balance of the reality. Take your power back, like actually she ended up doing when he created the people who he created, not the demons. He just classified them, but those who came forth had the connection of the mother and father was still in them, and they became not one-sided, they came full and luminous beings. We're going to have some future stuff. We're going to get into what really the word Lucifer comes, because we know that we've been told Lucifer is a demon and what it's been. A lot of times we're going to get into symbolisms similar to what we see with the swastika. Everybody sees swastika, identifies with Nazi. Swastika is ancient, and I'm going to show you how it's ancient. I'm going to show you how other groups used it in other places way before 1940 or 1930 something, way before. And really, what did they use it for is not always told to us in history, because I kind of know more about it, because you deep dive, you're open-minded, you don't prejudge. Not saying that somebody, the stories, but a lot of the stories we've been told ain't the full story. Just be facts about everything. And those who are awakening know this. This is where the knower comes in. You know that you know that you know. But anyways, you guys have an awesome day. I appreciate all what you guys do to this channel. Definitely picking up, doing it, being able to share was my next level. Now, even being a better editor and adding more stuff to it is going to be, like I said, we're going to have guests. I'm going to do a lot of this sharing, and you guys have a great day.